I'm physically building muscle to protect my body, and that's for my hormone health, my brain health, my bone health as well, which is really important at this age as well. And then they combine together, and that's where the real gold is.
Welcome to Strong Mind, Strong Body, the podcast from your favourite fitness studio, RG Fitness and Pilates in Trim, County Meath. We believe that building a strong and confident mind and body takes precedence over everything. Okay, so welcome back to Strong Mind, Strong Body. I'm so excited for today's guest because if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, like eating well, moving your body, but you're still kind of bloated and exhausted or just not feeling like yourself, then this episode is definitely for you. My guest today is Rachel Crowder, founder of Rachel Crowder Nutrition. She is a gut health and a functional nutrition specialist. I hope I got that right, Rachel. Rachel helps people uncover the root causes of their symptoms, whether it's bloating, low energy, hormone imbalances or inflammation, through personalised nutrition plans and testing rather than kind of quick fixes or generic advice. She really does deep dive. What I love about Rachel's story is that it's not just theory for her, it's personal. So she spent years dealing with her own chronic health struggles before discovering how much gut health can transform things, and that experience is exactly what shapes how she works with her clients today. She's been honoured in Network Ireland Meath as Emerging New Businesswoman of the Year, and she's very much one to watch in our local business community. So in this episode we're going to talk about kind of gut health basics, the gut hormone connection, why eating healthy isn't always enough. And I know that you're going to come away with so much to think about. So without further ado, let's welcome Rachel to the podcast. Rachel, you're so welcome.
Thanks, Roisin. Lovely to be with you. And
yeah, it's great to have you on. So we're going to get started anyway. So before we get into the whole science end of things, you came to nutrition after your own health struggles. So what was the moment you realised food was affecting you far more than just your body?
Yeah, the biggest moment for me was I just noticed one day my mental clarity just came through. I had just felt like I was firing on all cylinders. I had ideas coming to me, and I've never felt as sharp in my entire life. In my 30s, I was suffering with brain fog, and I didn't actually know it at the time. I was having those moments where I was just forgetting what I was saying mid-sentence, forgetting why I was walking into a room, making mistakes every week in work. Like, I literally thought I was going to lose my job. It was really bad.
That's so scary.
It was really scary, and as I say, I didn't know what it was. I was blaming tiredness, I was blaming energy. And when I stumbled into nutrition, because I literally did stumble into it, I was just watching a few things on Netflix, and like a lot of women, I was doing all the crazy stuff. Like I was doing the MyFitnessPal, the 1200 calories, the 800 calories, the fasting. I tried it all. Everything. And it wasn't helping me. And if anything, it was probably affecting my mind and my memory more than I was actually realised. And for me, health has always been really important because I've grown up in a family full of chronic illness. Like my mum had really bad rheumatoid arthritis. We have cancer, strokes, lupus, autoimmune conditions, and everything in between. So I've always been aware that as I get older, the potential for me to get sick is very high. Mm-hmm. And then I started to develop issues with my thyroid, feeling cold all the time. And the doctors told me that was borderline and I'd need to monitor it before going on medication. And then I found out I had osteoarthritis in my hip. So I thought, here we go, here's my start to this like worst nightmare. And then perimenopause, like
on top of everything, as if you didn't have enough to be dealing with.
I know. And the first thing for me like that was the brain fog. I didn't know it was brain fog.
Yeah.
And then I was having night sweats, and I was blaming the wrong pajamas, the wrong duvet, just like not getting stuff right. And I was having all these isolated symptoms and not realizing they were connected.
Right.
And when I was talking to the doctor, I was talking about them in isolation as well. I didn't realize there was any sort of correlation. So I say I wanted to be more healthy myself, and my husband has always been somebody that's gone to the gym from a young age. So he's like, you come down and I'll show you how to do a few exercises. So I sort of reluctantly went and used to dabble in that and everything. But I'd say within a few months of changing my diet, just as I say, I started noticing I wasn't having those moments of forgetting myself. I wasn't making the mistakes. I felt like I was nearly ahead of where the business I was working for at the time. Like I was thinking of things, and then like a few months later the business say, oh, we're going to start doing this now, and we've already been doing it for the past few months. Like, what is going on here? And then like I started again getting recognized. I was promoted in work and then started winning awards and everything, and I just thought, you know what, there's some connection here now between what I'm eating and how I'm performing.
It was nearly by accident then, was it?
Oh, complete accident. God, I was doing it on my own, so I had no clue. There was no one guiding me. I was just literally stumbling from a YouTube podcast or video, reading a book here, reading a magazine there, buying a cookery, watching Jamie Oliver. So I was sort of piecing things together myself. And then that's when I realised then, you know, between getting a bit fitter and then eating a bit healthier, that it was a whole body, and that's where the functional piece comes into it.
Okay,
Because it's a whole body, it's not just looking at the nutrition, you know, we will look at energy, sleep, weight, what you're eating, and then your mood as well. Like it's a huge factor for women.
That's amazing. So then we talk a lot on this podcast about this strong mind, strong body connection. So from a nutrition science point of view, how are they connected? How connected are they really? Like is a gut feeling more than just a saying?
No, it's completely true. And there's that other saying, you are what you eat.
Yes.
And that's hugely true, because, you know, if you're living off pizzas and takeaways and things like that, you are literally ingesting all of those, and it's not about calories or anything like that, it's the nutrients that are in it.
It's the quality of the food then, isn't it?
The quality of the food as well. And then there's something in terms of it's called the gut-brain axis. So that is literally a connection from your brain all the way down to your large intestine. And when you've ever gone for a job interview or, you know, an interview in your field, you know when you get that butterflies feeling in your stomach? That is your brain telling your gut you're nervous. And then your gut then creates that little reaction. And then it's the same then with, you know, if you have nausea as well. So if your stomach is upset then as well, it's actually going to have an impact on your brain. So you might find that you feel a bit more anxious. And we're actually seeing that coming through now with people with IBS.
Okay.
We used to think that stress made those symptoms, so your constipation, diarrhea, the pain in your stomach was coming from your stress. But what we're actually finding now is that those symptoms are actually increasing anxiety and depression in those people.
Wow.
We're seeing an increase. It's absolutely incredible. And you know, the gut is known as the second brain because it is it is at the core of your body. And it's controlling then your mind. It's sending those signals up, and then it's even connecting to your skin, your eye health, your bone health, your muscles. All of that can be improved or made worse from the condition of your gut health. So Amazing. It's very much true.
And then can you explain I know we'd kind of talked a little bit about it there, the gut-brain connection in like plain language for us that don't understand the whole scientific bit of it. How does what's happening in our digestive system actually influence our mood and our focus and our energy and our energy?
Yes. So to explain, the way the analogy I use is that your vagus nerve, so the gut brain is connected by a very long nerve called the vagus nerve, and it literally goes from the base of your neck all the way to your large intestine. And I compare that to your Wi-Fi cable in your body.
Oh, okay.
So there are signals shooting up and down that, and bi-directionally. So they're going in two directions. I say, before we would have thought you're stressed and it goes down to your stomach, but as I say, now we're learning that it's actually coming up the other way as well.
Okay.
So if you haven't digested your dinner, that's not only going to lead to bloating and that heaviness, it can also then affect your mood for the rest of the evening then as well. And we have in the gut, it's called the microbiome. So they're all different yeast, bacteria, fungi, a bit like a city in a way. So a bit like Dublin, you know, that we have all different things in there. Some of them we wouldn't like to think about, and some of them are quite nice and lovely.
Yeah.
And it's the same in your gut as well. And when you eat healthy food and lots of fibre, there are compounds that those bacteria make, and they're like little scientists. And when they make those compounds, then that's what improves your mood, helps you feel calmer.
Yeah.
And then can like that on the other side as well. So if you had, like, you know, not to be pointing out the burgers and the pizza, but if you're eating that food all the time, you're not getting quite the fibre that those bacteria need to make those good compounds. So that can help you, that can make you feel worse in yourself. Your mood is lower, you're lacking energy, and you don't feel like yourself, but it can be hard to pinpoint what exactly that is.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's huge fascinating research now coming out between that, and as I say, that was one of the impacts I felt myself. But because I was just doing a piecemeal, I couldn't connect it to what I was actually doing.
Yeah.
And when I work with clients now, like, we can do microbiome testing and we can actually see the numbers. So we can see the impact your microbiome is having on your level of calmness and stress.
Yeah.
And
That's so helpful to people, that, you know, just to actually physically see numbers.
Yes, and that's the amazing thing. Like, and you know, I had one client recently, and she had all these questions about her health. You know, why am I not losing weight? Why is my mood going up and down? Why am I snapping at people? And when we did the testing, there it was in black and white. There are the answers. She has been fighting with herself and blaming herself. Oh, I must be missing something. But it was actually, she was missing some bacteria. Okay. And they were having a huge impact. So we can actually see then the level of calmness. And for her, it was only 20%.
Wow, and it made such a difference.
Such a difference. And then being able to know what to do then to increase that.
Yeah. And that's where you come in to help her.
That's where I come in. And that's the powerful part then as well, that you're not just left with, oh, it's 20%, off you go, figure it out. It's
yeah.
That's great, because we can actually do something about it.
Yeah, amazing. So most of the serotonin then is made in the gut.
Yes.
What does that mean practically for someone struggling with low mood or anxiety?
Yes, so serotonin is our happy hormone.
Yeah.
And 90% of it is actually made in the gut, and it's made by those little compounds that I just mentioned, so those bacteria, and that's why it's really important to have them. And if that is out of balance, then they can't make that serotonin that we need, or the dopamine as well. And it massively affects how you feel. And when I was doing in-person talks, one of the questions I used to ask is, what if the key to a healthier life is in your gut and not in your brain? So
because everyone just assumes it's up here.
Yes, you assume, oh, I need to earn more money, I need to, you know, work more hours, I need to, you know, spend longer time in the gym, but nobody then is making that connection to what they're eating.
Yeah.
How does that make them feel better? And like, somebody asked me the question yesterday, does what you eat affect your motivation? Because this person was working to help people that are in slumps and things like that. And that is one of the changes that can happen as women get older. We can lose our confidence and our motivation to do things. And you probably see that all the time, Roisin.
Definitely.
You know, turn up to class, and even you did it in one of your videos where you said, I did not want to do that class today.
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
Once you got on the bike, then, you know, your gut would actually be generating that serotonin for you to get you going. Yeah. So you can do that then through exercise and then through what you eat. So if you have a nice balanced breakfast that morning, it's going to be more motivating and create that balance of that compound, so that your gut is making enough serotonin, and then that can actually cross over the barrier then to your brain as well.
It really is a game changer, isn't it?
Hugely. It's like you nearly feel like you're cheating at times.
Yeah.
You've discovered this secret, and people often say to me, I can't believe it's this easy.
Yes.
Because as women, we've been made to feel it must be difficult, it must be hard or complex. So when you start to eat like that, you're eating for your gut. So you're not just eating well, you're eating for your gut and supporting that microbiome. And then they give you the benefits then. So your energy increases, your focus increases, your confidence increases, you feel better in your clothes. And then it makes it easier then to keep that going consistently. So you're not having that battle every day with yourself to go to the gym, go to class, or to make a healthy meal.
And I suppose then from your point of view then, and especially with the numbers to back it up, it's about educating. Like you are educating your clients backed up by numbers so they can see for themselves what their body's trying to tell them and how they can improve.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I like that, you know, a lot of people will tell me when we weren't working with the testing and the reports, and they would say, oh, you know, I doubted you at the start because I didn't believe, because they've tried so many things in the past and it hasn't worked. And then when they do this work to improve their gut and heal their gut, and they feel the benefits, but when they see where they are starting from, they can see what's going well, so it's not all bad news, and then where they need to improve. And then the clients now are just getting results like 6 weeks, some even after 2 weeks are just feeling like, wow, I've never felt this good, like in 2 weeks.
And this is not like just for women and perimenopausal women, like for men as well. And like in, let's say, a stressful job situations, I would imagine that they, by changing how they eat and what they eat, they could be changing how they perform in their job, and therefore being more, what's the word I'm looking for? More productive in their job then.
Yeah, and effective as well. So they're
Exactly.
not only just doing the work, but like similar to what I experienced, you're actually bringing real change, real value to your position as well.
Yeah.
And like I had a client there, and one of my first clients actually, and she was a busy nurse. One of her children is practically an amateur athlete, and having to take them for training at 4:30 Monday to Friday every morning, then go off to work, do her own job. And then a son then with special needs as well on top of all of that. And she was really struggling at the start. And I often hear from people like where they'll say, oh, I just don't have time or the capacity to work on my health or work on my fitness. And that's actually when they need it more.
Most, yeah, so true.
To get yourself through it. Yeah.
And then I suppose, what would you say are the biggest warning signs then that your gut may be under stress?
Yeah, so things like if you're suffering with acid reflux, so a lot of people, because you can just buy Rennies over the counter or off the shelf in the supermarket, that, you know, just taking them is fine, and you can do it for years on end. And the same with bloating or digestive, you know, the doctor will give them, it's called a PPI, and basically it reduces down the stomach acid. But what can happen is that can reduce the acid down too long, and you shouldn't actually be on those medications long term. And the longer that you're on them, the more disruptive those symptoms are going to get, so they can actually get worse over time, and then it's going to be harder then to undo that work. But they are massive red flags from your gut that something is not right.
Okay.
So the acid reflux is happening because at the top of, if I can go about here, you have something called a sphincter, and it's a bit like the cap on this bottle here. Yeah. And what's happening is that should be nice and strong and closed like that. Yeah. But with acid reflux, your acid is basically coming out of your stomach and it's going up into your esophagus. Yeah, yeah. So it's literally burning the end of that esophagus, and then this sphincter then is no longer staying closed. Okay. So instead of that happening occasionally, now it's happening all the time. It's happening every day. People can feel it.
And that's the burning sensation that they're feeling there.
Burning sensation, and there's two dangers for that, especially for women as well. But that can actually be the sign of a heart attack.
Okay.
And people ignore it. We actually had a family member, he thought he had acid reflux, and he went out for a walk to try and relieve it. And when he came back, his wife made him a cup of coffee, and when she came back then she found him dead in the chair. So
Oh
that
my
was
God.
actually a heart attack, and that's actually one of the warning signs for women as well. And that's why it's so important to never ignore symptoms that are ongoing for weeks on end, and especially if they start
Wow.
to years and months.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, it's actually quite scary.
It is quite scary, yeah, because I say it's easy to think because you're just taking a Rennie, it's sorting that out.
Yeah.
But I know people that they've had to have that operated, or it can lead to esophageal cancers as well because of
Yeah.
the damage that's done. And then the same with bloating as well, because bloating causes a big amount of pressure in your gut, and that pressure can go somewhere, and often it goes down into your legs.
Yeah.
And that can be dangerous if you are in a sedentary role. So if you're sat at a desk all day, so
Yeah.
you can get, that's what causes like the likes of varicose veins and DVTs and things like that as well. So you're a higher risk for them, and that can be connected. But and even now we're even seeing the connections back to Alzheimer's as well.
Wow. Wow. So we're going to move on then to talk a little bit about energy, hormones, and kind of midlife. So many of the women that I work with in the studio say the same thing. I'm exhausted all the time. Like, I'm sure you get this a lot. I'm exhausted all the time. From a scientific point of view then, where do you start with that?
Yeah. So about 90% of my clients now would come with low energy.
Yeah.
And it comes from the digestive system being put under pressure. And where I would usually start, one of the questions I would ask people is, what are you eating during the day? And what I'll notice is that they are skipping a meal somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yes. I'd say 90% of my clients with low energy are doing this. So they're running out of the house in the morning with just a coffee.
Yeah.
And they're not having any breakfast. Or they're having something in the morning and then they're working through lunchtime to, get home earlier or get the work done. And then they're eating in the evening time, and they're either doing it to save calories or they're just that under pressure that they can't get a meal done.
Yeah.
But when we go back to eating 3 meals a day, the energy scores.
Really?
Yes.
So it's just about getting that little bit of structure in, whether it's meal prepping or if it's a case that you're like they may say to you, oh, I just can't get that. I'm too busy during the day. It's a case of, okay, well, prep the night before. Have something beside you, let's say at your desk, or whether it's, I don't know, chicken salad or something.
Yes.
Even if you have to work, you have a deadline, you get something in.
Exactly. Yeah, you make the time to get something in because that will affect your focus. Like some people make the mistake of thinking they're going to be more productive if they keep going, but
Yeah.
your brain power is actually going down. Like,
Yeah.
we need to drive to Galway in a few weeks' time, and we wouldn't travel to Galway without fueling up the car or charging up the
Of
battery.
course, yeah, yeah. I actually found in the last, let's say, so like I know exactly what I should be eating, but right, I've no excuses. I have to do it. But over the last month or so, no, say 2 months, I made a decision. I'm going to absolutely. I know I need to up my protein, so I've upped my protein,
Yeah.
included fibre and a small bit of carbs,
Yes.
and by drinking 2 litres of water a day, the absolute difference that has made to my life, apart from the fact that I'm not as exhausted anymore. I suffer with a really bad back, and I've suffered with it for years. But I've noticed since I've just got that little bit of structure in, I have been relatively pain-free.
Yes.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where that comes from. And like I do a lot of work now with the Irish nursing societies and pain management groups as well, because of that connection with pain perception.
Yeah.
So when you're eating well and you're eating for your gut, and that's the second thing that affects, that you've just hit the nail on the head there, Roisin. When it comes to the energy and the lack of energy, if they are eating 3 meals a day like that, they will be unbalanced because there's actually receptors in your gut for carbs, healthy fats and protein.
Yeah.
And if one of those is missing, you're going to get either have an energy slump, so like that you're going to have that slump at 3 o'clock and be reaching for the chocolate and biscuits, or you're going to be constantly grazing because your body is sending you that signal to go and have protein or have a bit of carb, but we're misinterpreting that as have a packet of crisps or have a chocolate bar, and that's why they don't hit the spot, because you're not giving your gut what it's trying to give you that signal to have. But they're the main, when it comes to that feeling exhausted, not eating your 3 meals and not making sure the meals are balanced, they will be the driver of that.
But I tell you what's a little bit frustrating. How, like, so I've kind of figured this out myself in terms of like the eating the structured meals and the upping the
Yeah.
protein, drinking the water has done wonders for my tiredness levels or my exhaustion levels, whatever we want to call it, and then the injury. But why are GPs not pushing this? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I go to a GP and they'll say, okay, right, first thing you present with problems with your back. The first thing they're going to do is give you a load of painkillers. Okay, you go back again, it's not working. They're going to send you to a specialist. And I get it. There's a process they have to do it, but
Yes.
all that could have been avoided for me. Look, it is what it is. I
Yeah.
am where I am, but for me personally, I have just noticed by structuring meals, 3 meals a day, protein snacks during the day,
Yes.
and whether it be a protein yogurt or I'm not really into the protein bars because I think that they're more sugar than anything else, but
They
that's
are.
my opinion. But good meals every day, and like that, your protein, your carbs, and your fibre. It's made a wonderful difference to my life.
Yeah, and that's amazing to hear, and that's what my clients all the same. And like the answer to the question why the GPs and consultants not recommending this, because the focus on nutrition is exceptionally low when it comes to medical school and
Yeah.
them being educated. It's just not part of their curriculum. You know, when I do my sessions and webinars with clients, they've actually done 40% of the training that the doctors get from
Yeah,
that one webinar.
yeah. That's
And
mental.
that is it. So it's only if you are lucky to have a doctor that is focused on nutrition, and there are some of them out there to give them credit. But
Yeah.
you were right. Like when I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my hip, and especially given my family history, I have never once been asked what do I eat or how
Yeah.
do I train.
Yeah.
In actual fact, I was told not to swim, not to run, not be standing on my feet. And if I'd listened to that advice, I probably would be having a new hip replaced.
Yeah.
Like they told me,
Yeah.
you will have a new hip replacement in 10 years, and that was 6 years ago. And I've beaten my personal best on the treadmill. I can hike up mountains, no
Yeah.
bother, I can get up the hills and everything else. And you know, I don't have any pain or medication for my arthritis. And that's 6 years in, and I have other clients now with arthritis, and we're doing the same because it's all about the inflammation in the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that, you know, if you're buying a ready meal out of one of the supermarkets, that's just going to be full of a lot of oils and salts and additives and things like that. And that's just driving up inflammation. And again, that doesn't help the gut. Like the fibre is what's needed, and the balanced meals. So when you're eating that takeaway or that supermarket meal, even
Yeah.
if it's one of those high protein ones, you're disrupting your gut, you're driving up the inflammation, and you're going to have more aches and pains.
Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, like it's not normal for women in their 40s and 50s to be going around with aches and pains.
No. No. And then I suppose that's going to lead into the dreaded perimenopause and menopause. We might get one question in on it anyway. So I presume you work with a lot of women around the kind of perimenopause, menopause age of their life. So what's actually happening to their body hormonally, and how can nutrition genuinely support that transition rather than just being another thing kind of to do on the list?
Yeah. So what's happening, really what we've identified is that your hormones start changing from the age of 35. Now that can be younger for some women as well. So it's sort of the average, because the average perimenopause age is 51. And perimenopause can be anywhere from 2 to 12 years before that, or even longer for some people. So a lot of women in their 30s, and a bit similar to what I was going through, are starting to get these symptoms, but aren't identifying it as perimenopause. And what's happening hormonally, so there's two main hormones, so there's progesterone and estrogen. And the way that they work for women is when we are in puberty, those hormones are fluctuating up and down, and that's why we're sleeping all day and arguing with people and being all moody, because our hormones are out of balance. And then in our 20s and to our mid-30s, they're balanced out. And then progesterone then is our calming, stabilizing hormone, and that peaks in perimenopause, and then it declines sharply. And that's when we start to feel more anxious. So some women are feeling anxious for the first time, or some women are finding that the anxiety is leading to depression, and like that they're just not feeling themselves anymore. And then they're coming into sleep issues, and then they might find that they're experiencing shorter periods or heavier periods, and it's because of that progesterone going down. And then meanwhile, our estrogen then is starting to dominate. So instead of being balanced, that now starts that roller coaster then of going up and down. And then the problem with that then is we lose a lot of protection in the body from the estrogen. So it can affect your gut lining, it can affect your gut motility. So you might find that you have more diarrhea because food is moving through your digestive system faster, or it might even slow down as well. So some women might find they're dealing with constipation for the first time as well. Or they might start experiencing pain and discomfort after they're eating as well. And then that's what sets women off down that path of, I must be eating the wrong thing, or they just don't understand what's going on in their body. But it is that hormone fluctuation. And then the microbiome in our large intestine actually changes as well. So we do have more of that bad bacteria in there. And that can lead to more cravings for chocolate and sweets, because they love all of those yeast building. And then that leads to more bloating. And then it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle of not feeling quite yourself, not looking yourself, not comfortable in your clothes, and then having this digestive changes as well then that you're trying to deal with. And it's often at a time then when women are under pressure with families and parents and a career to be driving everything at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot. We really go through a lot, don't we?
We do. We need a pay rise.
But you're dead right. So at the time when this perimenopause and menopause is kicking in, you're right. We still have kids,
Yeah.
plus we may have elderly parents as well.
Yes.
Plus you're, like you said, holding down a job, so your family life, and it's a lot. And then you've perimenopause and menopause on top of that.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
somebody comes along on the podcast and then they're telling you to eat for your gut health and eat healthier and all of
Yeah.
that. And like that, as I say, it can be overwhelming. And I even did a poll there on Instagram the other day. And I said, are you sick of, this pressure? And 70% of people said, yeah, I'm absolutely sick of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's advice coming out left, right and centre,
Yeah.
and you don't know where to start. But one of the things I would always say is like that, just try and get breakfast right. If you can get that right, then it's going to be easier for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And it can just be as simple as like having like that eggs and a bit of smoked salmon on a bit of toast, that it's balanced, or your yogurt seeds and a bit of granola, that you're adding into your diet. Because if you're just focused on calories, you're not going to make the right choices, and then it's just going to impact your hormones and your energy. And when like that work that you're doing yourself now, Roisin, eating those balanced meals, getting that protein in, that will have a cumulative impact on your hormones and start balancing them out for you now.
Exactly.
And that's whether you're on HRT or not, you still need to do that work.
You were saying there about the poll you put out, and people were saying about the noise. So there is so much noise out there regarding all this. So you've gut health powders and detoxes and cutting out and whole food groups. So what does the science actually support, and what would you kind of tell people to ignore, and then to kind of just focus on, like, keep it simple?
Yeah, I would tell people to ignore all of that.
Okay.
All of it. And the reasons why are because what the gut and the body needs is variety. And again, I did a post on this on Instagram. Those posts where you see, and especially around fitness and things like that, you'll see people saying, oh, have this perfect dinner 4 days in a row, have this perfect lunch 4 days in a row, have this perfect breakfast 4 days in a row. And that is the worst thing for your gut. And that's why people end up cutting out food groups, because they're blaming, oh, it must be that pasta. But the issue is that you've had pasta 4 days in a row.
Exactly, yeah. So mix it up.
Yeah, and like, you know that I do the food intolerance testing, and I did that with one client, and chicken was actually the issue. whereas most people are cutting out dairy and gluten and things
I
like
know.
that. It's yeast can come up. Like one client had carrots. Like, you know, we'd never find these things by guessing. And like that chicken one now, that's now come up for 4 different clients now. That chicken
Wow.
is an issue. Because a lot of the messaging is eat chicken, broccoli and rice to
Yeah,
stay
yeah, yeah, yeah.
healthy. And yes, that's a great meal, but not 4 or 5 days a week. And
Exactly. Everything in kind of moderation and mix things up a little bit.
exactly,
Yeah.
absolutely, exactly. And then, like in terms of supplements, like you know, I was actually talking to an Irish radio presenter a couple of weeks ago, and she was telling me she went to see a different practitioner who recommended €600 worth of supplements to her.
Was she selling the supplements, the practitioner?
Her practitioner was, and she left with this box. She showed me. She got every single one of them out, and she said, "What should I?" And I said 2, and I'd send all the rest back if you can.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think we should be taking supplements at this time in our life?
There are 3 supplements that are really vital, and especially in Ireland. So vitamin D, because
Yeah.
I know we've had a bit of sun recently, but that's not the norm. Really, we should be taking vitamin D between October and St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
So getting that in, because you just can't get enough. And vitamin D is a hormone, so you need to be getting it on your skin. And
Yeah.
obviously wearing sun creams and makeups and creams and things like that, it just doesn't get through enough.
Yeah.
So getting a bit of sunlight, but then supplementing with vitamin D is really good. And then omega-3 as well, because a
Yeah.
lot of people either don't eat fish or they're just not eating enough.
I don't eat fish. I
Yes,
do
so
take the omega-3s.
yeah, so taking the omega-3 is going to really help with that. And then the third one, depending on your needs, is zinc. So it's always worth like that, checking your levels or talking to somebody. So either zinc or magnesium, because zinc is really powerful for your gut lining to protect it.
Yeah.
And then magnesium for women, it actually performs over 400 to 500 different functions in the body.
Okay.
And it's critical like that for your sleep, when your sleep issues start happening, relaxing down your muscles. So particularly people that train and weight train and everything as well, the magnesium is brilliant for that. And you can either take that as a supplement or a gel, or even the Epsom salts in the baths will cover that. But they actually work synergistic together. So the 3 of them, especially the omega-3, the magnesium and the vitamin D, work really well together for women.
Okay. Amazing.
But the rest of the stuff now, and collagen powders, I would recommend to some people, depending on, it's not a blanket recommendation. And
Yeah.
again, when some people have bloating or if they have histamine issues, a lot of people are taking marine collagen, and that's actually making things worse.
Oh God. Okay. That's really
Yeah.
good to know then.
Yeah, so that's always important to, check with somebody instead of just, you see all these supplements and things recommended on Instagram and TikTok
Yeah.
and things like that. But to ask yourself, do I actually need them? And
Yeah.
because there can be a crossover, and particularly if you're taking any other medications as well.
Just
it's
to just double
important.
check things, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if somebody is listening, feels a little bit overwhelmed and can only change one thing this week to support both their mind and their body, what would you tell them to do?
I say one of the beneficial things is to just even add seeds to your breakfast.
Okay.
Or to your lunch, yeah. So a lot of people already know about chia seeds and flax seeds, but mixed seeds are absolutely amazing. So you usually get a mixed sesame, pumpkin, flax might be in there as well. So there's usually about 4 or 5 different types of seeds. And I recommend a tablespoon of the mixed seeds and then half a tablespoon of the chia and the flax seeds.
Okay.
And then that can help to give you a healthy fat. It's a source of protein. It's nice and easy on your digestive system. And I've even had a person, and they were actually pre-diabetic. And the only change we made was introducing these seeds, and now they're back into the normal diabetes risk-free range.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. The education again, isn't it?
It's all, and it's these little things as well, because a lot of time we're focused on like that, taking things out of the diet, taking out the dairy, taking out the gluten, taking out the joy nearly.
Yeah.
But it's often what we add in that can make the most change for people.
Yeah, so true. So finally, Rachel, what does strong mind, strong body mean to you personally after everything you've been through and everything you've learned along your journey?
When a few years ago, strong body, strong mind meant pushing through and being the most productive person I could be in the wrong way. So my perspective on that has completely changed, and it's all about alignment. So everything for me is around my gut health. So when I'm focusing on my gut health and getting my meals right, getting that balance in of my proteins, healthy fat, and my fiber that a lot of women are missing, and then I combine that then with my strength training then as well.
Yeah.
So I'm physically building muscle to protect my body, and that's for my hormone health, my brain health, my bone health as well, which is really important at this age as well. And then they combine together, and that's where the real gold is.
Yeah.
It's not just focusing on over exercise, and it's not focusing on having the perfect diet. Like, it's a journey, and it's about consistency. It's not about that perfectionism.
Yeah, amazing. So just before we finish up, at the end of my podcast every week, I do a little shout out to one of my clients. So I was trying to think, who am I going to do a shout out today? So I'm going to shout out to a lady called Valerie. So Valerie walked into my studio about 4 weeks ago. She just booked in online, and she came in, and the first thing she said, she didn't even introduce herself. She just walked in and she goes, "Have you got 6 kg? Because I can only lift 6 kg and I can't, and I'm only starting out and da-da-da." And I said, "Relax." I said, "We've got this, all right?" Anyway, since that day, after that class, it was a kettlebells class, she's booked in, she's doing lots of memberships since then and packages, and she's absolutely flying it. She's turning up. She does the early morning classes because that's the time that suits her. And even though she can't do every exercise, well, it's the same with anyone. We modify to suit, but she is giving it her everything. So this one is a shout out to Valerie. So yes, go Valerie. So Rachel, thank you so much for being a guest. I have learnt loads, and I hope our listeners have learnt loads as well. And thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. It's been
great. You're welcome.